So I'm making food from every single country in the world in alphabetical order, and I'm in B right now, cooking a dish from Belize. I'm back in the Caribbean again for the 4th time on the show. So a lot of countries down there start with either A or B, but this will be my first one in Central America. It's right along the coast there, so it's like luscious rainforest, but you know, you got the water too. What I'm gonna make today is their most popular dish, and it's the foundation and like staple of this cuisine, which is rice and beans. I'd like to accompany that with some Belizean stewed chicken called stew chicken. Also, I have this plantain, so I figure I'd make some Belizean fried plantain on the side. I know this is like the ripest plantain I could find. That's a meal. So I've sourced out all the recipes to ensure that they are as authentic as possible. If you want to check out what they're all about, they're in the description. First, I gotta make this Racado Paste, which is a popular spice mixture paste that you would find in Central America. Divvied out a whole bunch of little spices and herbs here on a little plate. All right, so I have 1/8 cup of ground annatto. It's a popular seed in Central America that is derived from the achiote tree. Achiote, am I saying it right? Tree?
It's a special purchase.
What does this annatto taste like? Like slightly spicy, kind of sweet. It's very reminiscent to me of paprika. Also, it looks exactly like paprika. 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, that's 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and this is just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in the middle here, if you can see that. And some white vinegar. Add all the spices, and then add some vinegar as a thick paste. So I'm making the stew chicken first, hence the chicken, obviously. When I was looking at recipes, they mentioned that, you know, this recipe can vary from like house to house, so not necessarily like one exact way of making this dish. Leave the skin on, it says. So I'm gonna just cut this up into pieces here. So the chicken breast is in half, the drumstick and the thigh. Chicken goes into a bowl. I need a tablespoon of vinegar. I'm gonna add in around a tablespoon of that Racado paste. With the vinegar and this paste, just rub it all around the chicken. Add in some tablespoons of soy sauce. You be the judge. And Worcestershire. Add in some Worcestershire sauce. A few tablespoons as well. Worcestershire. Yeah, I'm confident it is Worcestershire sauce. 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly cracked pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. I have some thyme in the fridge. It used to be fresh, now it's dried out completely. It's been a few months. You know, take it off the sprigs, chop it up. All right, and 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. Do not add salt yet. There you go, just keep on mixing. Mix it, mix it. I got 2 petite sweet green onions, just chop. An onion, just roughly chop up. And mince up a few garlic cloves. 1 insurance mince, please. So instead of regular cooking oil, what I'm using is coconut oil. So I need this big saucepan today. Tablespoon and a bit of coconut oil. Medium-high heat, about a teaspoon of sugar. Chicken goes in, skin side down. Save the marinade. Flip the chicken over, I gotta brown each side. Turn the heat down. Add the pepper, onion, and garlic. So I'm sauteing this up until the onions are transparent. Add in the leftover marinade and enough water to cover the chicken. No, I read that wrong. It was enough to almost cover the chicken. Add in an optional bay leaf, and I'm choosing to exercise that option. It doesn't say anything about adding a lid, so I'm just gonna simmer this like it is for 40 minutes. So I wanted to make sure that I was making the most authentic, delicious Belizean rice and beans dish. Actually, I went to the Belize.com website and the recipe was right on there. I looked at a number of these rice and bean recipes just to make sure that I was 100% correct on this, but you need to use dry red kidney beans. So what I had to do is start this like early this morning, or better yet, overnight. Throw in some of these dry kidney beans, add some water and let it soak. I just had never done this before because I'm only using the cans, so I just am not familiar with this, but this is what you gotta do. So that's why I did it. They've been soaking for hours. They're still kind of firm. Drain these. Give them a quick wash-a-roni. So I got half an onion that I'm gonna chop up and a clove or two of garlic, crushed. Saucepan, 3 to 4 cups of water. All right, maybe closer to 3. Add in the kidney beans, as well as the onion and the garlic. Now I'm gonna bring it to a boil. It's the wrong burner. Cool. These beans have been boiling for around 10 minutes and they still haven't softened. So I'm just gonna keep them boiling until they have, and then I'll move on to the next step. But this might take another 10 minutes or something. I don't know. I'm gonna monitor the situation. That's all I can do. So the stew didn't want me to add salt like at the beginning. It wanted me to add salt at the end. So I've just kind of been watching it throughout, and it most definitely needed salt. That is so fucking hot. So I've been adding salt as I go along, and that was the right call. So I'm gonna add salt, lots of salt, bunch of salt. Mix that in. It's not just salt it's missing. It's missing a certain pizzazz. So I'm gonna add a little more soy sauce and a little more, what is this? Worcestershire sauce. And additionally, about half a teaspoon of this Racado Paste. I also want to make sure that I'm continuing to reduce this water down because I think it's still a bit too much. Okay, now it's time to season the beans. How are they looking, by the way? Okay, they're looking pretty good. So I'm gonna add in some thyme, some salt, some pepper. So those beans took a long ass time to become tender. I had to boil them for like half an hour, but it's happened. I need half a cup of coconut milk. This is like one of the star ingredients of this rice and bean dish. So make sure you got the coconut milk and make sure, oh, it's kind of clumpy. Okay, whatever, I'm sure it's fine. It's kind of clumpy, but who cares? 1 cup of coconut milk and add that into the beans. Definitely supposed to add half a cup of coconut milk, not a cup, because I'm halving the recipe. I'm just gonna boil that with the lid off for a bit so that milk kind of evaporates a bit. Oops. All right, so 1 pound, 453 grams of rice. This is just like white long grain. I'm gonna rinse it. Just let it hang out there for a few minutes. How's this looking? Once that milk is boiling, I'm gonna add in the rice. And stir this all together. Cover, turn down to a simmer, and then I'm gonna cook that until the rice is tender. So I'll keep an eye on the prize. I don't know how long that's gonna take. I'll just keep watching it. The liquid has absorbed and the rice is tender. Ow! Yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, so up next is the fried plantain. Like, see that color there? Ideally, you wanna have plantain that looks completely like that right there. Cut the tips off and in half. It's like impossible just to get this. Yikes. It's impossible just to get the skin off this thing, which means it's really not ripe even a little bit. I'm gonna follow through as far as I can with this thing, and if it ends up being really bad, then I'll just bail on it. At the very least, let's see how it's done. Then I have to cut it into like lengthwise slices. I'm gonna use my cast iron skillet. So since I already have the coconut oil, it seems very fitting to use it for my frying oil. That's half a tablespoon. Coconut oil. Medium heat. Plantains into the oil. So until these are caramelized, it's like 10 to 15 minutes per side. And we are ready. Order up. Pour the stew on top everywhere. More rice too, of course. It's more of everything, honestly. Even the plantains are good. This to me captures what the show's all about. Discovering a plate of food like that. That was phenomenal. Tender, soft chicken soaked in that beautiful stew. I love the taste of that stew. I just let it sit like on low heat while I was taking care of everything else. That was the best thing that could have happened for it because there was just so much flavor in that stew. With the rice and beans, the best part is it's just like absorbed that coconut milk, which makes it like a unique dish in comparison to just like rice and beans. So having those two on the same plate together is just like, that is the definition of like a power couple. And scooping it up and you have a little of everything on the fork, it's the perfect bite. Oh, and the plantains. Plantains worked, and it's because they offered like a crunch to go along with everything. I mean, as you can tell, I really love that plate of food. I'm gonna see you next time with another country that starts with B. Shout out to these guys, my Patreons who are supporting the show, keeping me going. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself and see if it's something that you'd like to sign up for. But, I'll see you next time. Peace.